What's up, fam? Chief X, the God Best reincarnated, and bring you some more common sense science. You ever wonder why the pastor and the bishop is full of money, blessed and highly favored? Huh? Who's he highly favored by? Is the question. Now check this out. Let me tell you why these bishops and church pastors' pockets are fat. For one simple reason. Because they are doing a job and are being rewarded by the institution of white supremacy. Yeah. And it goes like this. The church pastor was always rewarded and given favor by his earthly master. Okay? And the reason why is, at a time in history, black folk who were made into slaves weren't able to read. Okay? They couldn't read no Bible. Okay? They better not be caught reading, or it's a problem. You can't read because they didn't want you educated. If you become educated, then you become somewhat conscious, and you can rise above ignorance and realize things is bullshit when it comes to you. So no. We can't have no educated slaves. So these niggas in their mind is not going to be reading, and we cannot allow them to read. But guess what? They allowed a certain individual to read, and that individual was the pastor. The pastor was Massa's boy. Okay? He was the liaison in between the slave and the slave master. He was the mediator. Okay? He was the intermediary between Massa and Massa's slaves. So he allowed Pastor to read because Pastor had to parlay the information the slave master gave him to the flock, or to the sheep, or to his congregation. Okay? So this was the term, or why they call him the shepherd. And they call people the sheep, because the shepherd leads the sheep. Okay? And the sheep is one of the dumbest animals on the planet. The sheep will follow the shepherd to the slaughterhouse. And one by one, each sheep will get his motherfucking head chopped off. Don't have the instinct to recognize danger and get his ass the fuck out the way before he reaches his death and the Grim Reaper visits his ass. So a sheep is a dumb animal. So anytime someone refers to you as a sheep and him the shepherd, be mad. Okay? Be a lion and a lioness, not a sheep. Okay? Now, the pastor is rewarded for doing his deeds for Master. Master gives him the Bible, gives him the information that he wants to teach the slaves, and he goes on and teaches the slaves what Master told him. And Master rewards him for being obedient and doing what he's told to do. See, when the black church was set up in America, they had an overseer, and that overseer was Master. He'd sit in church and eyeball that pastor and make sure pastor's doing what he told him to do. You better teach him right. Teach him that concept about turning the other cheek that we implemented. Okay? Now that concept is foolish, but we need them slaves to, abide by that. We need them to turn the other cheek because we can't have no uprising. We need to be able to whoop them and them to say, thank you, Master, I still love you. I still love my enemy. I'm not going to fight back. I'm going to remain docile. I'm not going to go Nat Turner on these I'm not going to go Nat Turner on these motherfuckers. I'm going to be a good little slave, do my job, and wait for my pie in the sky, in the hereafter, in the sweet by and by. Okay? So, Pastor gets rewarded for doing his job perfectly for the institution of white supremacy. Okay? And they feed the pastor. Thank you for doing the job. You get rewarded. Okay? Don't worry about no taxes. We're going to give you tax breaks. Okay? Collect your offering and do all that. We'll make sure, people give that 10%, which is not in the Bible. It doesn't tell you how much to tithe. You know what I mean? That's an implementation also into religion. Give unto Caesar what's due unto Caesar. In Rome and that. Okay? So, pastor's following Rome. In a sense. Okay? So, he is happy being a good house nigga for Massa. Because Massa's going to reward him. Okay? Now, these church folk and slaves weren't allowed to read. So what happens is they're told to have faith and believe. Don't know, but believe. Have faith. Better known as blind faith, but they just say faith. But it's really blind faith because you can't read, remember? You can't sit back and research none of that shit you told. You better accept it, shut your motherfucking mouth or you get beat. Okay? And if you unruly, pastor tell on your ass because you fucking with his money. Okay? So, he gets his tax breaks. He gets rewarded. He gets to put his fucking hand in the pot and get his money off the sheep. The naive people. Okay? So, we grew up Christian basically because our mom and daddy was Christian. Our mom and daddy was Christian because their mom and daddy was Christian. And their mom and daddy was Christian. And on down the line to the beginning of slavery. Not once did anybody say, wait a minute. How can you feed how can you feed 5,000 people with 2 fish? They didn't think that was strange. You know what I mean? They never researched concepts and figured it out. They had to accept it on faith. And this is why the bishops and the pastors are rich today and doing well, while all its members in the congregation is poor, living in the projects, doing crack, homosexuality all over the place, fucking twerking and doing all kind of gang banging and all that. Okay? So, today is 2014. Ignorance is a choice in 2014. With the internet at your fingertips, that's like having the world at your fingertips. You can do this. Google. YouTube. Research. Right at your fingertips. They refuse to do it. Faith, blind faith, hasn't been embedded in them for so long. They can care less now. Okay? We're going to catch hell right now. We're going to love our enemy in spite of. Because guess what? It's going to be okay in the sweet by and by. When you go to the upper room. You know, so you become just docile people with a Messiah complex, waiting on a Savior to save you. Although, them little slave girls and boys who was getting raped on a regular wasn't getting saved, regardless of how much they prayed, how much every family member prayed for them. Master was coming in, his homeboys was coming in, his sons, whoever else was coming in to get that motherfucking ass. While family members just cried and just, it's gonna be okay, you know what I mean? Just, you know, man. I don't know how they put it across to them to accept it and for it to be okay. But common sense says that's what had to happen. You a grown-ass man, big old buck, they called him. And you got to sit back knowing your wife is about to get it. Knowing your daughter is about to get it from this evil bastard. And you got to shut your mouth. A prayer would never stop it. It never has stopped it in the history of mankind. You know what would have stopped it? If that big old buck turned into Nat Turner and chopped this motherfucking penis off. Grab a motherfucking stick and a bat and crack him upside his motherfucking head, knock him out, and kill him. That's how you stop a rapist. A prayer don't stop shit. Okay? So, I'm getting off track because I'm getting emotional. But that's why our pastor's rich today. He's done the job for the institution of white supremacy. He's obeyed Master, and Master has rewarded him for his good deeds. And he is blessed and highly favored by Master. I'm Chief X with this common sense science, motherfuckers. You can't get away. You can't run. You feel me. Every time you go to motherfucking church, Chief X is in your motherfucking head. I've got inbox people telling me, I'm sitting up in church, Chief X, and you on my motherfucking mind. You goddamn right I'm on your motherfucking mind. Because I'm hitting you with this common sense science and this reality. And you fighting and struggling in your head. And you forcing yourself to believe. You don't want to know. You forcing yourself to believe. And you continuing to have blind faith. Because you are a mental and spiritual slave to Master. I'm Chief X. I'm out.